David's rental car followed Jennifer's SUV through the quiet Sacramento suburbs. His hands were slick on the steering wheel, his heart hammering so hard he could feel it in his throat. This was a mistake. Every instinct screamed that walking into that house together was a mistake. But Jennifer was moving with the momentum of righteous fury, and David found himself caught in her wake. They parked in front of 2847 Maple Drive. Marcus's silver Honda Pilot sat in the driveway, the car David had always believed lived at Seattle-Tacoma Airport long-term parking. Jennifer sat in her car for a moment, gripping her steering wheel, and David could see her steeling herself. Then she got out, walked to David's window, and leaned down. "The kids are at school until 3, she said. "Tyler has soccer practice after, so he won't be home until 5. Emma has a play date. Sophie's at my mother-in-law's." She stopped, her face twisting. "At Patricia's house. The grandmother my children actually have, who I thought hated me. Jennifer, maybe we should wait. Plan this better. Get a lawyer present, or..." "He's in there right now," Jennifer interrupted, pointing in the house. "In our home. Probably texting you some sweet message about how much he misses you while sitting in the kitchen where I make breakfast for our children every morning. I'm not waiting another second." She marched toward the front door. David scrambled out of his car and followed, his stomach churning. Jennifer used her key, and they entered together into the cool, quiet interior of Marcus Williams's other life. The house smelled like coffee and something baking, cinnamon rolls, maybe. Photos lined the hallway. Tyler's school pictures progressing from gap-toothed first grader to the teenager he was now. Emma's dance recital portraits. Professional family photos taken at JCPenney Studios. Everyone in matching white shirts and khakis, smiling at the camera. Marcus's smile in those photos was identical to his smile in the Iceland photos with David, in the anniversary dinner photos, in every captured moment of his Seattle life. They found him in the kitchen, exactly as Jennifer had predicted. He sat at the breakfast bar with his laptop open, coffee mug beside him, wearing a Stanford t-shirt and sweatpants. Reading glasses perched on his nose, reading glasses David had never seen. Marcus looked up as they entered, and David watched his face cycle through confusion, recognition, and then absolute, devastating horror. The coffee mug slipped from Marcus's hand and shattered on the tile floor. "Jennifer," he said, voice strangled. Then his eyes moved to David. "David, what, how?" 16 years, Jennifer said, her voice eerily calm. "That's how long you've been lying to me. How long have you been lying to him?" Marcus stood up, hands raised as if approaching a wild animal. "Let me explain. Please. I can explain everything." "Explain." Jennifer's calm cracked like ice over deep water. "Explain how you're married to both of us. Explain how you have 3 children you never told him about. Explain how your parents, who I thought hated me, are actually babysitting our daughter right now, while you sit here planning which lie to tell which husband." Marcus's face crumbled. He looked at David with desperate eyes. "David, I love you. You have to know that. Everything we had was real. It was all real." "Was it?" David's voice was barely a whisper. "Was any of it real, Marcus? Our home, our marriage? Were you thinking about them when you were with me? Were you counting the days until you could go back to your real family? You're both my real family." Marcus's voice rose, taking on a manic edge. "Don't you understand? I love you both. I couldn't choose. I never wanted to choose. So I found a way to have both. To be both. To be both." Jennifer moved closer, her hands clenched into fists. "You're not 2 people, Marcus. You're one person who destroyed 2 families. You made me complicit in betraying him. You made him complicit in betraying me. You turned us into unwitting accomplices in our own destruction. I never meant to hurt anyone," Marcus pleaded. I met Jennifer in college. We fell in love. She got pregnant. We got married. That was supposed to be my life. But then I met David, and I fell in love again. Real love. The same kind of love. How could I choose? How could I destroy one relationship to pursue the other? So I found a way to keep both, to honor both loves. Honor. David felt something break inside him. You call this honor? You faked your parents' deaths to me. You told Jennifer they hated her. You've been lying every single day for 13 years. That's not love, Marcus. That's not anything close to love. Marcus sank back into his chair, his face in his hands. I know it sounds insane. I know it does. But you don't understand what it's like to love two people with your whole heart. To know that choosing one means destroying the other. I thought I could make everyone happy. I thought if I worked hard enough, planned carefully enough, I could give you both the lives you deserved. While denying us the truth, Jennifer said, while robbing us of the ability to make our own choices. Did you ever think about what would happen when we found out? Did you think you could maintain this forever? I don't know, Marcus whispered. I try not to think about it. Every day I woke up and told myself just get through today. And then tomorrow came, and I did it again, and again, until years had passed, and it seemed impossible to tell the truth because the lie had become so big. How do you tell your wife of 16 years that you're also married to someone else? How do you tell your husband of 13 years that everything was built on a lie? You could have told us before, David said. When you met me, you could have told me you were married, given me the choice. You would have walked away, Marcus said, looking up with red-rimmed eyes. You were so principled, so good. You would have told me to work on my marriage, to be faithful to Jennifer, and I would have lost you. I couldn't lose you. So instead you trapped me in a lie, David said. Made me fall in love with a person who didn't exist. Because the Marcus I loved, he wasn't real, was he? He was a performance. A character you played when you were in Seattle. No. Marcus stood again, reaching for David, but David stepped back. No, that was me. That was the real me. Sacramento Marcus is real too. Both versions are real. I'm not performing. I'm just being different aspects of myself in different contexts. You're insane, Jennifer said flatly. You're genuinely, clinically insane if you believe what you're saying. A phone buzzed. Marcus's phone, sitting on the counter. A text notification appeared on the screen. Daddy, Grandma says, can you pick me up at 4 instead of 5? Sophie. David stared at the message, at the casual domesticity of it, at the evidence of yet another life Marcus had been living while simultaneously living with him. Who else knows? He asked quietly. Marcus's silence was answer enough. Who else knows, Marcus? David's voice hardened. Jennifer's sister Monica, obviously. Who else helped you maintain this lie? Monica didn't. Don't, Jennifer snapped. Don't you dare lie for her. She's been coordinating your schedule, hasn't she? Making sure Seattle David never called during Sacramento time. Making sure I never try to surprise you on a trip. How much did you pay her? I didn't pay her, Marcus said quietly. She did it because she loves me. Because she understood. The implications of that statement hung in the air like poison gas. Jennifer's face went white. She loves you? Monica loves you? My sister loves you. Did you? She couldn't finish the sentence. No. God, no, not like that. She understood the position I was in. She wanted to help. She thought. Marcus trailed off, realizing there was no way to finish that sentence that wouldn't damn him further. Call her, Jennifer said. Call her right now. And call your parents. Get them all here. Everyone who participated in this needs to face what they did. Jennifer, please. Now. Marcus flinched at her shout. With shaking hands, he picked up his phone and started making calls. David watched him, this man he'd loved for 13 years, and realized he was looking at a stranger. Had he ever really known Marcus? Or had he only known the carefully curated version Marcus had chosen to show him? As Marcus made his calls, voice breaking, clearly not explaining why everyone needed to come, just pleading with him to get to the house immediately, David walked to the living room window and stared out at the quiet suburban street. In 2 hours, children would be coming home from school. Sophie would return from her grandmother's house. They would walk into a house where their father's double life was being exposed in real time. What would this do to them? Tyler, 13, old enough to understand betrayal. Emma, 10, old enough to have her trust destroyed. Sophie, 3, young enough that she might be spared the worst of it. David felt sick. This exposure was necessary. Jennifer deserved the truth. The children deserved the truth. But the collateral damage was going to be catastrophic. Behind him, he heard Jennifer's voice, cold and controlled. When Monica gets here, I'm going to ask her one question. Just one. If she admits she helped you, if she admits she chose you over me, over her own sister, I don't know what I'll do. I genuinely don't know. Jennifer, Marcus tried again. I know you're angry. Angry. Jennifer laughed, and it was a terrible sound. Angry is what I feel when you leave dishes in the sink. Angry is what I feel when you forget to pick up milk. This isn't anger, Marcus. I don't even have a word for this. You've stolen 16 years of my life. You've made a mockery of our marriage, our children, everything I thought was real. And you did it all while making me think I was lucky to have you, grateful that you worked so hard for us, understanding when you had to be away. I've been thanking you for the privilege of being deceived. Marcus sank on a couch, his face in his hands. I never wanted this. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted to love you both. Is that so wrong? Yes, David and Jennifer said simultaneously. They looked at each other, these two victims united by betrayal, and something unspoken passed between them. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. They were the only two people in the world who truly understood what Marcus had done, who could validate each other's pain, who could stand as witnesses to the truth when everyone else tried to excuse or minimize or rationalize Marcus's actions. A car pulled up outside. Through the window, David watched an older couple emerge, Marcus's parents, Robert and Patricia Williams. The grandparents he believed were dead. They moved up the walkway with evident concern on their faces, probably wondering why their son had called them with such urgency. They had no idea they were walking into the end of everything they'd helped build. Robert and Patricia Williams entered through the front door, their faces creased with worry. Marcus, what's wrong? You sounded. Robert stopped mid-sentence, his eyes landing on Jennifer standing rigid in the living room, then swiveling to David, a stranger, by the window. Jennifer, what's going on? Who's this? Mom, Dad, please sit down, Marcus said, his voice hollow. We'll stand, Patricia said, her mother's intuition clearly sensing disaster. She moved closer to Jennifer. Honey, are you all right? Has something happened to the kids? The kids are fine, Jennifer said, her voice mechanical. But I need you to answer a question, and I need you to be honest. Did you know Marcus was married to someone else? The room went silent. Patricia's hand flew to her mouth. Robert's face drained of color. Their reaction told David everything. They'd known. Of course they'd known. You couldn't maintain a double life without support, without people willing to keep your secrets. Jennifer, Robert started. Did you? No. Jennifer's voice cracked on the last word. Patricia looked at Marcus, tears already forming in her eyes. We didn't know what to do, she whispered. He told us after David, after they'd been together for a few years. Said he couldn't give either of you up. We tried to convince him to tell you, we did. But you kept his secret instead, David said, speaking for the first time. He walked toward them, and they seemed to notice him properly for the first time. You knew your son had another husband in Seattle, and you let him keep lying to both of us. For a decade. Robert's face hardened. Who are you to judge? You don't know our son. You don't know what he's been through, the pressure he's been under. I'm David Chun, David said quietly. I'm your son's husband. Or at least I thought I was. Turns out that marriage was never legal, since he was already married to Jennifer. I've spent 13 years of my life with a man who was living a complete fantasy, and you helped him do it. Patricia started crying in earnest now. We didn't know what to do. He's our son. We love him. We couldn't just abandon him. But you could abandon your grandchildren's right to the truth. Jennifer's voice rose. Tyler, Emma, Sophie, they think their father is a hero. They think he sacrifices time with them to provide for them. They have no idea their father is living another complete life in another state with another person. What happens to them when they find out? What happens when they realize their grandparents lied to them too? We were trying to protect them, Robert said defensively. Children don't need to know about their parents' complicated lives. We thought. You thought wrong, Jennifer interrupted. You thought it was better to let them live in a lie than to face the truth. And you know what? That makes you complicit. Every family dinner, every birthday party, every time you babysat, you were helping Marcus maintain this massive deception. You looked me in the eye, probably felt sorry for me, and said nothing. Another car pulled up outside. Monica's blue Toyota. David watched Jennifer's sister get out of the car, moving quickly toward the house. She looked worried. Marcus's call had probably been urgent enough to pull her away from work. She had no idea what she was walking into. Monica entered without knocking, her eyes immediately finding Jennifer. Jen, what's wrong? Marcus called and said. She stopped when she saw the assembly in the living room. Her face went pale. Hello, Monica, Jennifer said, her voice dangerously calm. I'd like you to meet David Chun, Marcus's other husband, the one you've been helping him hide from me for over a decade. Monica's mouth opened and closed. She looked at Marcus, who wouldn't meet her eyes, then back at Jennifer. Jen, I can explain. Did you know? Jennifer asked. Did you know Marcus was married to David? Did you help him coordinate his schedule so I'd never find out? Monica's silence was damning. Answer me. Jennifer screamed. You're my sister. You watched my children grow up. You're Tyler's godmother. You held me when I cried about missing Marcus during his long trips. And all along, you knew. You knew he was with someone else. He was going to tell you. Monica said desperately. He kept saying he was going to tell you. But the years kept passing, and it got harder. And I was trying to help him. He was so torn up about it, so guilty. I thought if I could help him manage both lives, eventually he'd figure out the right thing to do. The right thing to do was to tell the truth. Jennifer moved toward her sister, and David instinctively stepped between them. The right thing was to give me a choice, to let me decide if I wanted to stay in a marriage built on lies. But you took that choice from me. You and Marcus and his parents. All of you decided you knew better than me. All of you decided I couldn't handle the truth. We were trying to protect you. Monica pleaded. You were so happy. The kids were happy. We didn't want to destroy that. Instead, you destroyed everything. Jennifer's voice broke. You destroyed my ability to trust anyone. My own sister betrayed me. For what? For him. Monica glanced at Marcus, and David saw something in that glance. Something that confirmed his earlier suspicion. You love him, David said quietly. You're in love with Marcus. Monica's face confirmed it before her words did. I don't, that's not. Oh my God, Jennifer whispered, backing away from her sister as if Monica was diseased. You're in love with my husband. You've been in love with him all these years. That's why you helped him. Not for me. Not for the kids. For him. Because you wanted to be close to him, wanted to be essential to him, wanted him to need you. Jen, please. Get out, Jennifer said, her voice dead. Get out of my house. All of you. I can't look at any of you right now. Jennifer, we need to talk about this. Patricia tried. We need to figure out what to tell the children, how to handle. I said get out. The force of Jennifer's scream sent everyone moving toward the door. Robert and Patricia hurried out, Patricia still crying. Monica lingered, reaching toward her sister, but Jennifer turned away. If you touch me, I'll break your arm. I swear to God. Monica, I'll break your arm. Monica fled. Only Marcus and David remained. Marcus sat on the couch, his head in his hands, his shoulders shaking with sobs. David stood by the window, watching Marcus's family scatter to their cars, and felt a strange numbness settle over him. This should be satisfying. The truth exposed, Marcus's support system crumbling. But it just felt empty. You need to leave too, Jennifer said to David, her voice gentler now. I need to be alone with him. I need to figure out what to tell my children when they come home. What will you tell them? David asked. Jennifer looked at Marcus with something that might have been pity or might have been hatred. The truth. I'm going to tell them the truth. And then I'm going to file for divorce. And I'm going to fight for every penny of child support and alimony. And Marcus is going to pay for what he's done. Not just to me. To you too. You should sue him. For fraud. For emotional distress. For something. Make him pay. I don't want his money, David said. I just want to understand why. Why did you do this, Marcus? Why couldn't you just choose? Marcus finally looked up, and David was shocked by the devastation in his face. Because I loved you both. Because I couldn't imagine my life without either of you. Jennifer was my first love, the mother of my children, my foundation. You were my passion, my joy, my escape from the weight of responsibility. I needed both of you to feel whole. Then you weren't whole to begin with, David said, and you tried to fill whatever was broken inside you by breaking both of us instead. He walked to the door, then paused. The text you sent me this morning, about missing me, about the boring conference, I got that while I was watching you play with Sophie in your yard. And I realized something. You're not choosing to deceive us. You're not even aware you're doing it. In your mind, when you're with Jennifer, you're Sacramento Marcus, and Seattle doesn't exist. When you're with me, you're Seattle Marcus, and Sacramento doesn't exist. You've fractured yourself so completely that you actually believe both lives are separate and real. And that makes you dangerous, Marcus, because people who can't tell the difference between reality and their own delusions, they're capable of anything. David left without looking back. He could hear Jennifer's voice, sharp and cold, beginning to interrogate Marcus about logistics, bank accounts, insurance policies, property ownership, the practical dismantling of a life built on lies. He drove back to his hotel and called Rebecca Stone. It's done, he said. Jennifer knows. His family knows. It's all coming apart. How did he react? Rebecca asked. Like a man whose world is ending. Which I guess it is. David, I wanted to get on a plane back to Seattle. Tonight. Don't wait. Don't stay to watch the aftermath. Why? Rebecca's voice was grim. Because I've seen how men like Marcus react when their carefully constructed realities collapse. They don't adapt. They don't accept. They break. And when they break, they take everyone down with them. David booked a flight for that evening. But as he packed his bag, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Jennifer. Marcus left, just got in his car and drove away. He won't answer his phone. His parents haven't seen him. I'm worried about what he might do. Can you call me? David called. Jennifer answered on the first ring. I shouldn't have pushed so hard, she said, her earlier fury replaced by fear. He kept saying he was sorry, kept saying he couldn't live with what he'd done, and I told him good, that he should feel guilty. And then he just left. David, what if he does something to himself? Did you call the police? And tell them what? That my bigamous husband is having a breakdown? They won't do anything unless he's an immediate threat. David was quiet for a moment, then said, I sent him a text last night, before I met with you. I told him I know everything. He didn't respond. He hasn't contacted me at all today. Do you think he knew we were going to confront him together? Maybe. Or maybe he was just spiraling, trying to figure out how to explain the inexplicable. Jennifer's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm scared. Not for me. For the kids. They're going to be home soon, and I don't know what to tell them. And Marcus is out there somewhere and God knows what state of mind. What if he comes back? What if he's dangerous? Marcus isn't violent, David said. But even as he said it, he remembered Rebecca's warning. Men who live double lives can be unpredictable when cornered. You don't know that, Jennifer said. Neither of us knows him at all. We thought we did, but we were wrong about everything else. What if we're wrong about this too? A chill ran down David's spine. Jennifer, take the kids to a hotel when they get home. Don't stay at the house tonight. Not until Marcus is found and we know he's stable. Okay, Jennifer said. Okay, I'll pick them up from school early. Make up some excuse. Take them somewhere safe. Call me when you're settled, David said. And Jennifer, I'm sorry for all of this. I know I'm part of what destroyed your life. You're not, Jennifer said softly. You're a victim too. We both are. Marcus did this. Not you. Not me. Him. They hung up, and David sat in his hotel room, staring at his phone, waiting for a text from Marcus that never came. As afternoon faded to evening, as his flight time approached and passed, David couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was building. That Marcus's silence was more ominous than any explanation he could have offered. At 8:47 p.m., David's phone rang. An unfamiliar Sacramento number. Is this David Chun? A woman's voice asked. Yes. Who is this? This is Detective Sarah Martinez with Sacramento Police Department. I'm calling about Marcus Williams. I understand you're his partner. David's blood went cold. What's happened? Mr. Williams has been involved in an incident. I'm going to need you to come down to the station. Can you do that? What kind of incident? Is he hurt? Is he? Please, Mr. Chun, just come to the station. We'll explain everything when you get here. The line went dead. David grabbed his keys, his hands shaking so badly he dropped them twice. He didn't know what had happened, but every instinct screamed that his earlier fear had been justified. Marcus hadn't broken down. He'd broken apart, and when people break apart, they take everyone down with them. David arrived at the Sacramento Police Department at 9:23 p.m. The building was modern and sterile, fluorescent lights humming overhead, the smell of bad coffee and industrial cleaner thick in the air. Detective Sarah Martinez met him in the lobby, a woman in her 40s with tired eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor that had clearly been earned through years of delivering terrible news to unsuspecting people. Mr. Chun, follow me. She led him to an interview room. Cold, windowless, a table bolted to the floor. David's heart hammered. Please, just tell me what happened. Is Marcus? Mr. Williams is alive and in custody, Detective Martinez said, sitting across from him. But I need to ask you some questions first. How well do you know Monica Patterson? The question was so unexpected that David just stared at her. Monica? Jennifer's sister? I met her today for the first time. What? Detective Martinez pulled out a notebook. Tell me about today. Everything that happened at 2847 Maple Drive. David walked her through it, discovering Marcus's double life, meeting with Jennifer, confronting Marcus together, the family assembly, Monica's confession that she'd been helping Marcus maintain his dual existence. The detective took notes, her face impassive, giving nothing away. Did Monica seem upset when she left? Martinez asked. Yes, extremely. Jennifer basically disowned her. Why are you asking about Monica? Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Monica Patterson is dead. She was found in her Portland apartment 3 hours ago. Single gunshot wound to the head. Marcus Williams was found sitting beside her body. The gun was registered to Monica. David's vision narrowed to a pinpoint. The room spun. No, that's not. Marcus wouldn't. Mr. Williams claims it was suicide. Says Monica called him after leaving the family confrontation. Said she couldn't live with what she'd done. Says he drove to Portland to try to talk her out of it, but got there too late. He claims he'd only been there for about 15 minutes when Portland PD arrived. You don't believe him, David said. I'm investigating all possibilities, Martinez said carefully. But there are some inconsistencies. Monica's neighbors report hearing 2 people arguing loudly about an hour before the gunshot. The positioning of the wound is consistent with suicide, but also consistent with someone else pulling the trigger. And there's the timing. Marcus admits he left Sacramento around 3 p.m., drove 4 hours to Portland, spent time with Monica before she died. That's a lot of time to plan something, or to talk someone into something. David felt bile rise in his throat. You think he killed her? Or convinced her to kill herself? I think a woman who was helping maintain an elaborate deception for over 10 years found out she'd been exposed, lost her sister's trust, and was facing serious consequences. I think Marcus Williams's entire life was falling apart, and Monica Patterson was a major liability. She knew everything. She could testify to the extent of the deception. She could potentially face charges as an accessory to fraud. And I think Marcus Williams had motivation to ensure her silence. But if it was suicide, then it's a very convenient suicide, Martinez interrupted. Mr. Williams's lawyer will certainly argue that Monica was distraught and Marcus tried to save her but failed. But I've been doing this job for 20 years, Mr. Chun, and I've learned that when someone's entire world collapses, they'll do almost anything to stop the bleeding, including eliminating the people who can hurt them most. David's mind raced. Was Marcus capable of murder? Or of psychological manipulation so severe that he could drive someone to suicide? 24 hours ago, David would have said no. But 24 hours ago, he'd also believed Marcus was his faithful husband. There's something else, Martinez said. We found Monica's laptop. She'd been keeping detailed records. Spreadsheets tracking Marcus's movements, copies of texts between them, financial records. She documented everything. Why would she do that? Insurance, maybe. Or because she knew this day was coming and wanted to protect herself. Or, Martinez paused. Or because she was obsessed. Her computer history shows hundreds of searches about Marcus, about you, about Jennifer. Photos she downloaded from social media. She had entire folders dedicated to tracking Marcus's life. This wasn't just someone helping a friend. This was an obsession. Jennifer said Monica was in love with Marcus, David whispered. That tracks with what we found. Monica kept a journal. I'll spare you most of the details, but the relevant part is this. Monica believed Marcus was going to eventually leave Jennifer for her. She thought helping him maintain both relationships was temporary. That once you and Jennifer found out, once everything collapsed, Marcus would realize Monica was the one who really understood him, who really loved him. David felt a wave of revulsion. Did Marcus know she felt that way? According to the journal, he encouraged it, told her he cared about her deeply, said she was essential to him. There's even evidence they had a brief physical relationship about 5 years ago. Jesus Christ, David breathed. So there were three. Jennifer, me, and Monica. He was playing all of us. It appears so. And now one of those three is dead. Which brings me to the critical question, Mr. Chun. Do you feel safe? The question hung in the air like a threat. What are you saying? I'm saying Marcus Williams's life is over. His marriage to Jennifer is done. His relationship with you is done. His family knows what he is. His company is going to find out. He's facing potential bigamy charges, fraud charges. Everything he built is ash. And the only two people who can testify to the full extent of his deception are you and Jennifer. Martinez leaned forward. Men in that position sometimes decide if they're going down. They're taking everyone with them. You think he's going to come after us. I think you should take precautions. Police protection if possible. Stay somewhere he wouldn't expect. Don't go home alone. Martinez slid a business card across the table. My number's on there. You call me immediately if Marcus contacts you, or if you see him. Do not try to talk to him. Do not try to reason with him. Just call. David took the card with shaking hands. Can I see him? Marcus? Why would you want to? Because I need to know. I need to look him in the eye and see if there's any chance this was really a suicide. If there's any chance the man I loved for 13 years isn't a murderer. Martinez considered this. 5 minutes. With me present. He's already invoked his right to a lawyer, so he may not talk. But I'll allow it. She led David through the station to a holding area. Behind a metal door with a small window, David could see Marcus sitting on a bench, his head in his hands. He looked small, broken, nothing like the confident man who'd juggled two families for over a decade. Martinez opened the door. Marcus looked up, and when he saw David, his face crumbled. David. God, David, I'm so sorry. Did you kill her? David asked, his voice flat. What? No. God, no. She called me crying. Said she couldn't live with what she'd done, with losing Jennifer. I tried to talk her down. Drove to Portland as fast as I could. But when I got there, there was so much blood. I tried to help her, try to stop the bleeding, but... You expect me to believe that? David interrupted. After everything you've lied about, after 13 years of elaborate, calculated deception, you expect me to believe Monica conveniently killed herself hours after your life fell apart. It's the truth. Marcus stood, and Martinez's hand moved to her weapon. I didn't kill her. I loved her. I loved all of you. That's been the problem all along. I loved too many people and couldn't let any of you go. Love, David repeated, the word tasting like ash. You don't know what that word means. Love is honesty. Love is respect. Love is giving someone the choice to accept you as you really are. What you did wasn't love, Marcus. It was pathological narcissism. You kept us all around because we made you feel good. We validated you. We gave you the illusion that you were a good person. But you're not. You're a monster wearing a human mask. Please, Marcus whispered, tears streaming down his face. Please don't say that. I'm not a monster. I'm broken. I don't know how to be just one person. I tried. I swear I tried, but you failed, David finished. And now someone's dead. Maybe you pulled a trigger. Maybe you just manipulated her until she did it herself. Either way, her blood is on your hands. Marcus sank back onto the bench, his shoulders shaking with sobs. What about Jennifer? The kids? Are they safe? Are they? You don't get to ask about them, David said coldly. You lost that right when you destroyed their lives. Detective Martinez thinks you might come after us next. Eliminate the witnesses. Should I be worried, Marcus? Should Jennifer be looking over her shoulder? Never, Marcus gasped. I would never hurt you. Either of you. You have to believe me. I don't believe anything you say anymore. I'll never believe anything you say again. David turned to leave, but Marcus's voice stopped him. David, wait. There's something else. Something you need to know before it's too late. David paused but didn't turn around. What? The business. My pharmaceutical company. I've been embezzling money for years. To maintain both households. Jennifer's going to find out. The auditors are already asking questions. I'm going to lose everything. We're all going to lose everything. David walked out without responding. Behind him, he heard Marcus's sobs echoing off the concrete walls, the sound of a man whose carefully constructed empire was collapsing into rubble. Detective Martinez drove David back to his hotel, insisting he shouldn't be alone. As they pulled into the parking lot, another car was waiting, a black Mercedes with a man standing beside it. Tall, dark-haired, wearing an expensive suit despite the late hour. That's Graham Torres, Martinez said, checking her notes. Marcus's business partner. He called earlier wanting to talk to you. I told him where to find you. He might have information relevant to the investigation. David approached cautiously. Graham extended his hand, his grip firm, but his eyes haunted. Mr. Chun, I'm sorry to ambush you like this, but we need to talk about Marcus, about what he's done to the company, to all of us. They went to the hotel bar, nearly empty at this hour. Graham ordered whiskey, drank half of it in one gulp, then said, I've known Marcus since college. We started the pharmaceutical consulting business together 15 years ago. Built it from nothing. I thought I knew him better than anyone. He laughed bitterly. Turns out I didn't know him at all. Welcome to the club, David said. The embezzlement started about 8 years ago. Small amounts at first. So small I didn't notice. Then larger. He was funneling money through fake consulting contracts, inflating expense reports, creating phantom clients. Over the years, He stole nearly $2 million from the company. Our company. Money that should have gone to employees, to expansion, to investors. He stole it to maintain his double life. David felt the weight of this new betrayal. You're sure? Our forensic accountants confirmed it this afternoon. Marcus must have known we were closing in. Maybe that's why he finally cracked. Graham stared into his drink. But that's not the only reason I needed to see you. There's something else. Something I should have told someone years ago. Graham's expression turned dark. I've been in love with Marcus since we were 22 years old. And he knew it. He used it. He used my feelings to manipulate me into overlooking irregularities, into covering for his absences, into being another person who helped him maintain his lies. The next morning, David received an unexpected call from Patricia Williams. Her voice was thin, broken. Please, I need to speak with you. Just 15 minutes. Robert and we need to explain. We need you to understand. Against his better judgment, David agreed to meet them at a diner far from the police station. Robert and Patricia looked like they'd aged 10 years overnight. Patricia's eyes were swollen from crying. Robert's hands shook as he gripped his coffee cup. We're not here to make excuses, Robert began. What Marcus did is unforgivable. What we did, helping him, keeping his secrets, is unforgivable. But I want you to understand how it happened. How good people can make terrible choices. Patricia took over, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder in his early 20s. Not multiple personalities exactly, but a severe form where he could compartmentalize his life into separate, non-overlapping realities. His therapist told us he needed intensive treatment, medication, constant monitoring. But Marcus refused, said he could manage it himself. And for a while, it seemed like he could. When he told us about you, about the double life, we were horrified, Robert continued. We confronted him, threatened to tell you both ourselves. But he broke down, said he couldn't choose, that both lives felt equally real to him, that destroying either one would kill him. He begged us to give him time to figure it out, to get help. And like fools, we believed him. Years passed, Patricia said, tears streaming down her face. Every time we pushed him to tell the truth, he'd have a breakdown, end up in the hospital, threaten suicide. So we stopped pushing. We told ourselves we were protecting our son, protecting our grandchildren from trauma. But really, we were just cowards. We were afraid of losing him, afraid of what the truth would do to the family. So we chose silence. And now Monica is dead, and Marcus is in jail, and 3 innocent children's lives are destroyed because we were too weak to do the right thing. There's something else, Robert said, his voice dropping. Marcus has a therapist he's been seeing in secret for the past year. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison in San Francisco. She's been documenting his deterioration. She warned him 6 months ago that his compartmentalization was breaking down, that he was at risk of a psychotic break. She recommended voluntary hospitalization. Marcus refused, and Dr. Morrison couldn't break patient confidentiality to warn anyone unless he was an immediate threat to himself or others. David stared at them, so everyone knew. His family, his business partner, his therapist. Everyone knew Marcus was sick and dangerous, and no one stopped him. We're so sorry, Patricia sobbed. We're so sorry. But sorry couldn't bring Monica back. Sorry couldn't give David and Jennifer back the years stolen from them. Sorry was just another empty word in a story full of empty words. Detective Martinez called David that afternoon with updates. We've been going through Monica's records. She documented everything. Every lie Marcus told. Every time she covered for him. Every payment he made her for her coordination services. He was paying her $3,000 a month, taken from the embezzled funds. She was financially dependent on the arrangement continuing. So she had motivation to keep his secret, David said. Exactly. But there's more. Monica's phone records show 17 calls to Marcus the day she died. The last one was 3 hours before the shooting. We pulled the audio from her security system. She had cameras in her apartment. Marcus is heard telling her, "You know what happens to people who betray me. You've seen what I'm capable of." David's blood ran cold. He threatened her. It's ambiguous enough that his lawyer will argue he meant emotional harm, not physical. But combined with everything else, it's building a case. The DA is considering upgrading charges from failure to report a death to manslaughter, maybe even second-degree murder. We also found evidence of a third family, Martinez continued. In Portland, a woman named Sarah Martinez with 8-year-old twin boys. Marcus was supporting them financially. Sarah believed he was separated from his wife and working toward divorce. She had no idea about you or Jennifer. David, there might be even more we haven't found yet. David flew back to Sacramento to meet with Jennifer. She checked herself and the kids into a hotel under an assumed name, terrified that Marcus might make bail and come after them. When David arrived, Tyler answered the door, a tall, lanky 13-year-old with his father's eyes and a wary expression that no child should have. "You're David," Tyler said flatly. "The other husband." "I am. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. It's not your fault my dad's a liar." Tyler's voice was hard, brittle. "Mom told us everything. Emma cried for 6 hours. Sophie doesn't really understand yet. And I just keep thinking about all the times Dad coached my soccer games, helped with my homework, told me he was proud of me. Were any of those moments real? Or was he just performing?" Jennifer appeared behind her son, looking exhausted. "Tyler, go check on your sisters." Once Tyler left, she collapsed onto the couch. "They're devastated. Emma won't stop asking why Daddy didn't love us enough to choose us. Sophie keeps asking when Daddy's coming home. And Tyler's building walls. I can see him doing it, shutting down emotionally so he won't hurt this much again." "I'm so sorry," David said. The company called. Marcus stole $2 million over 8 years. They're filing criminal charges. The house he told me he owned outright, it's leveraged to the hilt. We're going to lose it. I'm going to have to take my kids and move into a tiny apartment because their father was too selfish to just be honest. Jennifer's hands clenched into fists. And Monica. God, Monica. Part of me hates her for what she did. But another part knows Marcus manipulated her, just like he manipulated all of us. And now she's dead. And I can't even mourn her properly because I'm so angry at her. Jennifer's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and went white. It's from Marcus's number. But he's in jail. He doesn't have his phone. She opened the message. David leaned over to read it. "They'll never believe I'm innocent. I can't let my children grow up thinking their father is a murderer. I'm sorry for everything. Tell them I love them. Tell them it was all real. M. Oh God," Jennifer whispered. "He's going to kill himself." Jennifer immediately called Detective Martinez while David called the jail. But Marcus wasn't in his cell. Somehow, during a shift change and a computer glitch, he'd walked out of the holding area. No one knew how long he'd been gone. "We've issued an APB," Martinez told them over the phone. "But I need you both to go somewhere safe. If Marcus is having a breakdown, if he's decided to end things, he might want to take people with him. It's not uncommon in these situations." David and Jennifer grabbed the kids and drove to the Sacramento Police Department, where they could be protected. Tyler asked no questions, his face set in grim understanding. Emma cried quietly in the back seat. Sophie kept asking where they were going, confused by the fear in her mother's voice. At the station, they were placed in a secure room. Hours passed. Police searched Marcus's known locations: the Sacramento house, his parents' home, Graham's office, even David's Seattle address. He was nowhere. Then David's phone rang. "Marcus," Martinez mouthed, put it on speaker, and began recording. "David." Marcus's voice was eerily calm. "I just wanted to say goodbye, to tell you it was real. What we had, it was real love. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to choose. I'm sorry I destroyed everything." "Marcus, where are you?" David asked, tried to keep his voice steady. "Somewhere peaceful. somewhere I can think. I've spent so much of my life maintaining lies that I forgot what truth feels like. But I remember now. The truth is, I'm a monster. The truth is, people are better off without me. The truth is, I don't deserve forgiveness. Let us help you, David pleaded. Turn yourself in. Get the treatment you need. Your children need. My children need a father who isn't a liar and a murderer. They're better off believing I'm dead than knowing what I really am. There's a sound in the background. Wind, maybe water. I'm at the place where I proposed to Jennifer. The lake in Tahoe. Do you remember, Jennifer? You said it was the happiest day of your life. You said you'd never doubted us. Jennifer grabbed David's phone. Marcus, please. Please don't do this. The kids need you. Tyler, Emma, Sophie. They need their father. We can get through this. We can. They need a father they can respect. I'm not that man. I'll never be that man. His voice softened. Tell them I love them more than life itself. Tell them that part was never a lie. Tell them. The line went dead. Police raced to Lake Tahoe, lights and sirens cutting through the night. David and Jennifer followed in a separate vehicle, Detective Martinez driving them personally. The lake was 3 hours away. 3 hours of Jennifer crying silently while Tyler sat rigid beside her, refusing to let himself break. 3 hours of David wondering if this was his fault, if confronting Marcus had pushed him over the edge, if there was something he could have said or done differently. They arrived at dawn. Police vehicles surrounded the lake's edge, their lights reflecting off the dark water. A boat was out on the lake, searchlights sweeping the surface. Detective Martinez got an update from the scene commander, then returned to the car where Jennifer and David waited. They found his car in the parking lot, keys in the ignition, wallet on the driver's seat. His phone was on the shore. No sign of Marcus. He drowned himself, Jennifer said flatly. Divers are searching now, but it's a big lake, and if he weighted himself down. Martinez didn't finish the sentence. They waited as the sun rose higher, painting the lake gold and red. Beautiful, David thought bitterly. Marcus had chosen somewhere beautiful to die. One last performance, one last attempt to control the narrative. The tragic ending to a tragic life. At 9:47 a.m., Detective Martinez's radio crackled, but it wasn't the dive team. We've got a situation at 2847 Maple Drive. Multiple shots fired. Officers responding. Possible hostage situation. Martinez went pale. That's Jennifer's house. But everyone's accounted for. Who? Jennifer grabbed the radio. My in-laws. Robert and Patricia. They sometimes go to the house to water plants, check on things. Oh God, they're there. Marcus is there. The Lake Tahoe suicide threat had been a diversion. While police focused on the lake, Marcus had gone back to the Sacramento house. Back to where his double life had been exposed. Back to where everything had fallen apart. They raced back to Sacramento, patrol cars clearing traffic ahead of them. Detective Martinez was on the phone constantly, getting updates. SWAT is on scene. Marcus has barricaded himself inside with his parents. He's armed. We don't know with what. He's making demands. What demands? David asked. He wants to talk to you. Both of you. Says he'll let his parents go if you come to the house. Absolutely not. Martinez said before either David or Jennifer could respond. We don't negotiate with armed suspects. We don't put civilians in danger. This is textbook hostage situation protocol. We wait him out, wear him down, get him to surrender peacefully. But Jennifer was already unbuckling her seatbelt. Those are my children's grandparents in there. I don't care what they did, what they knew. They don't deserve to die because Marcus is having a breakdown. If talking to him saves them, I'm talking to him. Me too, David said. He called me. He wanted to say goodbye. Maybe I can get through to him. Maybe I can convince him to end this without anyone else getting hurt. Martinez argued, threatened, reminded them that Marcus was potentially a murderer. But David and Jennifer were united in their decision. They'd been victims of Marcus's deceptions for long enough. Now they would face him one final time together, and try to save the people caught in the crossfire of his collapsing world. The street was blocked off, neighbors evacuated, SWAT teams positioned behind vehicles and walls. The house, 2847 Maple Drive, where Marcus had built his California dream, was dark and silent. Curtains drawn, no movement visible. The SWAT commander briefed them. "We've established phone contact. Marcus is calm, but paranoid. Believes people are out to get him, that his parents betrayed him by talking to police. He's hurt them both. We don't know how badly. He's armed with what we believe is a handgun. He says he'll release them if you two come to the front door, unarmed, and talk to him through the door. No entry. Just talk." They fitted David and Jennifer with body armor and wire devices so SWAT could hear everything. As they walked toward the house, the distance seemed infinite. David could hear Jennifer's breathing, fast and panicked. He reached out and took her hand. She squeezed back, and they walked the final steps together. Two people bound by betrayal, now bound by a desperate hope that they could stop this nightmare before anyone else died. David knocked on the door. "Marcus, it's us. It's David and Jennifer. We're here like you asked. Please let your parents go." Silence. Then the door opened a crack. Marcus stood there, and David barely recognized him. His eyes were wild, unfocused. Blood stained his shirt. His own or someone else's, David couldn't tell. In his right hand, he held a gun. "You came," Marcus said, sounding surprised. "I didn't think you would. After everything I did. After all the lies. I thought you'd hate me too much." "We don't hate you," Jennifer lied. "We want to help you. We want your parents to be safe. Please, Marcus, let them go." They told the police everything. Marcus said, his voice rising. "Every secret, every detail. They promised me they'd stay silent, but they betrayed me. Everyone betrays me. They were trying to help," David said gently. "They were trying to get you the help you need. Marcus, you're sick. You need treatment. But it's not too late. You can still make this right." Marcus laughed, and it was a terrible sound. "Make it right. Monica is dead. My children hate me. I've stolen millions. I've destroyed everyone who ever loved me. How do I make that right?" "By stopping now," Jennifer said. "By letting Robert and Patricia go. By putting down the gun and getting help. Show your children that even when you've made terrible mistakes, you can choose to stop making them worse." For a moment, Marcus's face softened. For a moment, he looked like the man David had fallen in love with 13 years ago. Vulnerable, seeking guidance, wanting to be saved. But then something shifted in his eyes, and David knew with terrible certainty that it was too late. That Marcus had already decided how this would end. "I can't let you tell them," Marcus said, raising the gun. "I can't let my children know what I really am. I can't." A shot rang out, but it wasn't from Marcus's gun. A SWAT sniper had taken the shot the moment Marcus raised his weapon toward David and Jennifer. Marcus crumpled, the gun falling from his hand. SWAT teams rushed forward, breaching the door, shouting commands. David and Jennifer were pulled back to safety, their ears ringing, their minds struggling to process what had just happened. Inside the house, Robert and Patricia were found in the living room. Robert had a severe head wound, but was conscious. Patricia had been shot in the shoulder, but was stable. Both were rushed to the hospital under police escort. Marcus was taken in an ambulance, alive but critical. The bullet had struck him in the chest, collapsing a lung, but missing his heart. At the hospital, Jennifer was finally reunited with her children, who'd been kept safe at the police station throughout the siege. Tyler held his mother while she sobbed. Emma cried into her shoulder. Sophie, too young to fully understand, kept asking why Mommy was sad. David sat in the waiting room, alone, staring at nothing. Marcus was in surgery. The doctor said his chances of survival were 50-50. David didn't know what he wanted the outcome to be. Part of him wanted Marcus to live, to face trial, to answer for everything he'd done. Another part wanted this nightmare to simply end, for Marcus's death to provide some kind of closure, however false. Graham Torres arrived at the hospital and sat beside David. I heard what happened. Is he in surgery? They don't know yet. Graham was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm shutting down the company. The embezzlement scandal, the publicity, we can't recover from this. 15 years of work gone. And I keep thinking, if I'd been honest years ago, if I'd admitted to myself that Marcus was manipulating me, using my feelings to control me, could I have stopped any of this? We all could have, David said tiredly. That's the terrible truth. His parents, his sister-in-law, his business partner, his therapist, everyone saw pieces of the puzzle, but no one put it together in time. Or maybe we all chose not to see the whole picture because it was easier to maintain our individual delusions than face the monster we were enabling. Detective Martinez approached with an update. Marcus is out of surgery. He's stable but sedated. When he wakes up, he'll be formally charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, and we're still building the case for Monica's death. The DA thinks we can make second-degree murder stick. In the house, Jennifer asked, joining them. My children's home. It's a crime scene for now. Once the investigation concludes, it'll be released. But given the financial situation, the bank will likely foreclose. I'm sorry. Jennifer nodded, numb. It was never really ours anyway. Just another part of the illusion. 6 weeks later, Marcus was deemed fit to stand trial. His lawyer argued for psychiatric evaluation, claiming Marcus was not mentally competent to assist in his own defense. But the court-appointed psychiatrists disagreed. Marcus understood right from wrong. He'd planned and executed an elaborate deception for over a decade. He was capable of standing trial. The courthouse was packed with media. The story had gone viral. The man with 2 families, the web of deception, the death of Monica Patterson, the armed standoff. Everyone wanted to see the monster in person. David attended every day of the trial, sitting in the gallery beside Jennifer. They'd formed an unlikely friendship born of shared trauma. Tyler sometimes joined them, his young face set in hard lines as he listened to the details of his father's crimes. Emma and Sophie stayed away, protected from the worst of it by Jennifer's parents, who'd flown in from the East Coast to help. The prosecution painted Marcus as a calculating sociopath who'd manipulated everyone around him for personal gratification. They brought in Dr. Elizabeth Morrison, Marcus's San Francisco therapist, who testified that Marcus had been warned repeatedly about his deteriorating mental state but had refused treatment. They presented Monica's journal, her documentation of the affair, her desperate hope that Marcus would choose her. They showed the embezzlement records, the fake expense reports, the stolen money used to maintain 3 separate households: Jennifer's in Sacramento, David's in Seattle, and Sarah's in Portland. The defense called Sarah Martinez to the stand, the Portland girlfriend with twin boys. She testified that Marcus had told her he was divorced, that he was working on getting full custody of his children from his unstable ex-wife. She believed she was his real partner, that David and Jennifer were the deceptions. She'd had no idea about the bigamy, the embezzlement, any of it. And then the defense revealed the final twist. Sarah's twin boys were Marcus's sons. DNA tests confirmed it. Marcus had 4 children, not 3. 4 innocent children whose lives he'd destroyed. Against his lawyer's advice, Marcus insisted on testifying. He took the stand wearing an orange jumpsuit, his wrists shackled, looking thin and tired but eerily calm. When asked to explain his actions, he spoke for nearly 2 hours without interruption. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he began. I know what I did is unforgivable, but I want people to understand that I never intended to hurt anyone. I know that sounds impossible, but it's true. In my mind, I was giving each of you the best version of myself. Jennifer got the family man, the father, the provider. David got the romantic partner, the intellectual equal, the companion. Sarah got the fresh start, the second chance at happiness. I compartmentalized so completely that when I was with each of you, the others didn't exist. You were my only reality in those moments." He looked directly at David, then Jennifer. "I loved you. Both of you. All of you. That's the tragedy. The love was real, even if everything else was a lie. And I know that's not enough. I know love without honesty is poison. I know I should have been brave enough to face the consequences of my choices. But I was weak. I told myself I was protecting you from pain, but really I was protecting myself. I couldn't bear to see disappointment in your eyes. Couldn't bear to be less than the man you thought I was. So I became multiple men, and in doing so, I became no one." The prosecutor cross-examined him about Monica. "Did you kill Monica Patterson?" "No, but I destroyed her just the same. I used her love for me as a tool. I manipulated her, made her believe she was special, that we had a future. And when everything fell apart, when she realized she'd been used, she couldn't live with what she'd done. What I'd made her do. She killed herself, but I pulled the trigger. Maybe not literally, but morally, spiritually, her death is on me." And the armed standoff. Threatening your own parents. Marcus's composure cracked. I wasn't thinking clearly. I'd lost everything. My children, my families, my freedom. My parents had betrayed me, or so I thought in my paranoid state. I wanted to make everyone understand, make everyone see that I wasn't evil, just broken. But then I saw David and Jennifer standing at my door, and I realized they'd already seen everything. There was nothing left to explain, no more performances left to give, just the ugly truth of what I'd become. The jury deliberated for 3 days. When they returned, the courtroom was silent. Guilty on all counts except murder. They couldn't definitively prove Marcus had killed Monica, so the charge was reduced to involuntary manslaughter based on his psychological manipulation leading to her suicide. At sentencing, the judge was harsh. "Mr. Williams, you've shown a level of deception and manipulation that is truly extraordinary. You didn't just lie to your partners. You constructed alternate realities for them to inhabit. You robbed them of years of their lives, of the ability to make informed choices about their futures. You damaged your children irreparably. You drove a woman to suicide. You stole from your company and your business partner. You held your own parents hostage. The harm you've caused is incalculable. 7 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole." Marcus showed no reaction, as if he'd already accepted this outcome. During the victim impact statements, Jennifer spoke. "My children asked me why their father didn't love them enough to choose them, and I don't have an answer. Because the truth that their father loved them so much he couldn't bear to choose, that his love was so selfish it destroyed everyone, is too complicated for them to understand. Tyler is in therapy. Emma has nightmares. Sophie asks when Daddy's coming home, and I have to tell her never. Never, because Daddy broke the world so badly that it can't be fixed." David spoke next. "I lost 13 years believing in a love that was real and fake at the same time. How do you process that? How do you trust anyone again when the person you trusted most was living a lie? Marcus told me I was his sanctuary, his peace, his home. But I was just another character in the play he was directing. And now I have to rebuild my life from nothing, knowing that every memory I cherished is tainted with deception." Graham Torres spoke about the business they'd built together, now bankrupt and dissolved. Robert and Patricia Williams, still recovering from their physical wounds, spoke about losing their son to a mental illness he refused to acknowledge or treat. Sarah Martinez spoke about explaining to her 8-year-old twin boys why the man they called Daddy was actually a criminal who'd lied about everything. 11 people gave impact statements. 11 lives destroyed by one man's inability to choose, to be honest, to face the consequences of his desires. 2 years later, David stood in a new apartment in Portland. Ironic, given that Portland was where Marcus had maintained his third family, but the city felt anonymous enough that David could disappear into it. He'd changed his last name, closed all his social media accounts, rebuilt his design business from scratch with new clients who didn't know his story. He'd been in therapy twice a week for 2 years, working through trust issues, processing grief, learning to accept that some questions would never have satisfying answers. His therapist had warned him about the temptation to romanticize the good moments with Marcus, to wonder if maybe some of it had been real. It was all real and all fake simultaneously, she told him. That's the mindfuck of it. The emotions were genuine, but the context was fraudulent. You have to mourn both the relationship you had and the relationship you thought you had. Jennifer had moved to Arizona with the children, seeking distance from the Sacramento house and the memories attached to it. They texted occasionally, shared updates about the appeals process, about their respective therapy journeys, about the strange experience of being permanently linked to someone through trauma. Tyler had started opening up more in counseling. Emma's nightmares had decreased. Sophie was young enough that her memories of Marcus were already fading. They'd be okay, Jennifer insisted. Eventually, Sarah Martinez had sued Marcus's estate for child support and won, though there was little money left after legal fees and restitution. The twin boys knew their father was in prison, but not why. That explanation would come later, when they were old enough to process it. Graham had started a new company, swore off mixing business with personal relationships, and was slowly rebuilding his reputation in the industry. He'd sent David a Christmas card, just checking in, making sure David knew he wasn't alone in the aftermath. Robert and Patricia Williams had divorced in the wake of the scandal. Patricia had entered a psychiatric facility for treatment of severe depression. Robert had moved to Florida, seeking anonymity, and had sent David a letter apologizing for his role in the deception. David had never responded. Some apologies couldn't be accepted because the harm was too great. And Marcus? Marcus sat in a maximum security prison, serving his life sentences. David had heard through Detective Martinez that Marcus spent most of his time reading, writing letters to his children that went unanswered, and attending therapy sessions mandated by the prison. He'd been diagnosed officially with narcissistic personality disorder, dissociative tendencies, and sociopathic traits. The diagnosis came too late to help anyone. David sometimes wondered if Marcus thought about them. If in his cell, late at night, he cycled through his former lives like scenes from a movie. Jennifer laughing in the Sacramento kitchen, David watching the Seattle rain, Sarah playing with the twin boys in Portland. Did he miss them? Did he regret his choices? Or did he still believe, in some delusional corner of his mind, that he'd been trying to do the right thing? David's phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. David Chun, a woman's voice asked. My name is Elizabeth. I'm Marcus Williams' daughter. From his fourth family. The one in Boston that nobody knew about. I'm 23, and I just found out my father isn't who I thought he was. Can we talk? David sat down heavily. A fourth family. Another wife Marcus had never mentioned. Another child whose life had been built on lies. The deception went even deeper than anyone had known. How many of us are there? David asked, his voice barely a whisper. I don't know, Elizabeth said. I've been digging through public records, and I've found evidence of at least 2 more women he was involved with long-term. There might be more children, more families. The investigators only scratched the surface. The nightmare, David realized, was never really going to end. Each revelation led to new questions. Each answer question revealed new deceptions. Marcus's web of lies was so vast, so intricate, that they might never know the full extent of it. 3 years after Marcus's conviction, Detective Martinez called David with news. We've closed the Monica Patterson case. Officially ruled it a homicide. New evidence came to light. Marcus's DNA under Monica's fingernails, defensive wounds that were initially missed. He did kill her. He physically killed her, then staged it as a suicide. The DA is adding first-degree murder to his charges. David felt nothing. No vindication, no satisfaction, just a hollow numbness where emotions used to be. Doesn't matter. He's already serving multiple life sentences. It matters for the truth, Martinez said. Monica's parents deserve to know their daughter fought back, that she didn't choose to leave them. The trial for Monica's murder was swift. With the new DNA evidence, Marcus's previous testimony about her suicide fell apart. He was convicted, adding another life sentence to the collection. At the sentencing, he finally broke down completely, admitting that he'd killed Monica, because she threatened to go public with everything if he didn't leave Jennifer and David and commit to her. She'd been his accomplice for years, but when the truth came out and she realized she'd never be chosen, she'd become a liability. I didn't want to, Marcus sobbed, but she was going to destroy everything. Tell the children, tell the world. I couldn't let that happen. So I went to her apartment and we argued, and she said she was going to the police. And I couldn't let her. I grabbed the gun from her drawer and He couldn't finish, but he didn't need to. Everyone understood. Marcus had killed Monica to protect his secrets, and then he'd lived with that for months, maintained his innocence, let her parents believe their daughter had abandoned them. After the sentencing, David returned to Portland. He sat in his apartment and thought about the man he'd loved for 13 years, about the moments they'd shared that had felt profound, meaningful, real, about the life they'd built together in Seattle, the plans they'd made, the future they'd envisioned. All of it had been performed by a man incapable of genuine connection. Marcus hadn't loved him. Marcus had loved the idea of him, loved how David made him feel about himself, loved the validation David provided. But real love, love that required sacrifice, honesty, vulnerability, Marcus had never been capable of that. David opened his laptop and began writing. Not for publication, not for therapy, but for himself. He wrote about the 13 years, about the good moments and the lies they were built on, about the man he thought Marcus was versus the monster he'd turned out to be. He wrote about Jennifer and Sarah and Elizabeth and all the other victims scattered across the country. He wrote about the children, Tyler, Emma, Sophie, the Portland twins, Elizabeth, and possibly more, who would carry this trauma for the rest of their lives. And as he wrote, David realized something profound. Marcus's greatest crime wasn't the bigamy or the embezzlement or even the murder. It was the theft of their ability to trust reality itself. Every person Marcus had deceived now lived in a world where nothing was certain, where anyone could be lying, where love could be both genuine and fake at the same time. That was Marcus Williams's true legacy. Not the families he'd built, but the doubt he'd planted in everyone who'd ever believed in him. A doubt that would never fully heal, never fully fade, never allow any of them to love again with complete abandon. David closed his laptop and looked out at the Portland skyline. The sun was setting, painting the buildings gold and orange. Beautiful, peaceful, normal. The world kept turning despite everything. People fell in love, built lives, trusted each other. Most of them would never experience what David had experienced. Most of them would never know how fragile trust really was, how easily a lifetime could be revealed as a lie. He didn't know if that made them lucky or naive. Maybe both. His phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Tyler asked if you'd be willing to talk to him sometime. His therapist thinks it might help him process everything. Says talking to someone who understands but isn't his mom might be good. No pressure if you can't. David typed back, of course. Anytime. We're all in this together. Because that was the truth Marcus's lies had revealed. The only way to survive this was together. All the victims, all the broken pieces, supporting each other through the aftermath. Building something real from the ruins of Marcus's manufactured world. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't healing. But it was survival. And for now, survival was enough.